You can customize your toolbar and move things around.
Oh, zoo.
Cool, right? Yeah.
There, now that's going to be, I'll ask Monica to trim that off.
Yeah.
The public video. All
All right. Thank you everybody for joining. Just a heads up, I'm gonna change the agenda around because I forgot to build Thunderbird locally this morning, so it's still building in the background. I'm not sure if you're seeing like horrible video qualities because my CPU is tapped out. It should take around 10 minutes to finish building, so I'm gonna do my accent colors presentation a little bit later. We can just go down in the list of agenda. Starting with Mel, she said that she didn't do
Hi,
her homework, so it's gonna be
that's
quick.
true. Unfortunately, some higher priority work has delayed the GitHub repo readme. However, I'm hopeful, really hopeful that I'll have carve out some time later this week. And what I'll do is I'll get a either a draft up on the repo or a Google Doc that's accessible for everyone in this meeting at least into the design channel with a kind of just a draft, and then we can kind of iterate on it. At this point, I think I'll probably just commit it to the GitHub repo, and then if someone wants to do a merge request or has edits they want to do but don't know how to use Git as well as someone else, they can post in the Matrix chat, and we can kind of hash it out. And also, someone's honking the horn, so
Nice. Perfect. Thank you. Right, Laurel.
Oh, what did I put in here? Ah, okay. I want to share my screen. That's right. Just for some more updates. And this is just how does a design component come to life? So hold on, I just got to get my Figma up here, and then I can take over the screen. 2 seconds. I should have opened this up before, but that's just how it goes. This is just a simple user flow. Let's see here. Sharing my screen. Just we've done some updates to our use of Zeppelin internally, so which will help a little bit at the design dev handshake. So this is just a little bit of note with some of that process. I went over this with the design team this week, and so slowly socializing it out. But this will be helpful for this committee as well as our community as well to understand how components come to life. So I'll walk you through this chart. So everything in the design system is fed by things that happen in a project. We don't create components just for the sake of creating components. They need to be initiated by a specific use in context. So when we start there, first designer will ask themselves, is the desired icon, color, type, or component in the Bolt design system already? If it is, great, use it, carry on. That's best case scenario, right? If not, there's two options here. I know my designers hate when I do this because it should just be yes and no. But if it's not there, then they need to create it locally. If it is there, but it needs some improvement, then they also need to create it locally. And then I'll walk you forward on this. So it's not in the design system or you need to make changes to it. You create a local component within the design file. It might be a text file or a foundation item token too that we need to create, but I'll focus a little bit more on components. So then once that project is done, we publish those local components to Zeppelin. You'll see that we're building out the Bolt style guide in Zeppelin a little bit more. And so there'll be two designations in there. There will be, for example, desktop local, and then there'll also be desktop global. Global is what is in the main big shared design system library. Local is things that are probably a one-time use or new that hasn't been migrated in or might never be migrated in because of the next question, which is the component used in two times or more places? This, if it is, this kind of elevates it into the main shared library. If it's just like a one-time unique thing, then it just lives with that local component and doesn't make it into the big shared design library. So it's one-time use, we just stop there, stays in local. If it does need to be elevated, then the design team, we create a Notion ticket for that component to get migrated into the Bolt design system. We right now we're in Figma. Soon, in the future, we'll be in PenPot towards the end of the year, hopefully. So we'll migrate that into the shared library that we use in design files. Then we will publish those into whatever platform global library in Zeppelin. We'll remove that component from the local library in Zeppelin. Then we will publish to Zero Height. Zero Height is our design system documentation, which is at bolt.thunderbird.net. We're slowly building that up. That is the public source of our design system documentation at the moment. In the future, we'll be linking in. We'll have design components in there, and then we'll also have the coded components in there. It'll be great. There'll be do's and don'ts, all sorts of magical things. Yeah. And then we'll update. This is just for the design side, but we're working out our versioning and release documentation on that. So we'll update that. And then that is the end of how design system component comes to life.
Are there any in between all these steps, especially the final steps, like moving to Zeppelin and then removing from Zeppelin, publishing to Zero Height? Are there any like hard requirements, or is just a natural process that is driven by time?
Natural process driven by time at this moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any scenario in which you see like maybe we publish things to Zeppelin and they don't properly scale, or they don't fully apply to all the scenarios, something that we miss while building the design system inside
It
of
happens.
Figma?
It happens. And that's what this committee is for. As we move out of kind of a nascent state with the design system, I'm sure that those conversations will be had here. Yeah, does something need to be modified, elevated? Is it not use for our ecosystem cross, or is it just for desktop and doesn't scale into something that's kind of mobile? Like there's so many trade-off talks that we can have. And eventually, as we reach more maturity of the design system, we'll have to decide what we're keeping and maintaining and what just needs to go, because that's a real thing, so that we don't get to we don't want a design system that is cumbersome. We want it to stay nimble and to our needs. So ongoing communication on all of that.
Nice. Anyone has any questions, any doubts, or anything else? I have a question. Is there a way to make our Zeppelin workspaces view only for non-participants, so you cannot comment or you cannot just
I've been having that
act
question
again?
too. I need to do a little bit of research in there. I hope so. I might need to reach out to their support too, but it'd be nice if we can have that available publicly so that people can see that kind of so just for those that are listening to this that aren't familiar with Zeppelin, it's the tool that we use for Design Dev Handshake. It's a little bit easier for when devs are getting into the high fidelity, the nitty gritty of needing to see spacing, typography, how is it linking into the design system? All that stuff is there. Also, we linked in the reason we're putting the components in there because now the devs will be able to see all the different states of, say, an interactive component. Makes things way easier, and it's by far gives us better leverage and capability than dev mode in Figma. So yeah, I'll look into that and I will report back, because I think that would be nice if people are able to just have a look. I know we get the odd time when there's been a weird Figma file shared, I get people asking to look at it, and we're always wanting to show work in progress, have that better transparency and visibility too. And Zeppelin would enable that if we can do it.
I remember the good old time of InVision when you could have just accounts enabled to comment, but also just look at it and interact with the prototype without commenting.
InVision was fantastic tool. I too miss it quite a bit. It was when I worked in a much larger organization, it was almost integral to have visibility. And we'd have people from different departments too, being able to be like, what are they doing over in digital? Oh, I want to steal a little thing like that. It's better. And it just created a better work and cohesive work across different areas. So
is really the question, should we have an account for Richard inside Zeppelin.
Oh,
Even
we
so, he
can.
can see all our design offloads. Um,
Absolutely. Richard, I will add you in. You can be a test flight in there. It'll be great. I
yes.
will add Amanda in there as well as committee members. So you will have the capability to comment and things like that too as a member, an active member.
Mhm. Nice. Sweet. Okay, my build finished, so I can go back to the top of the agenda and talk about accent colors, which is the most exciting thing ever. Okay, so accent colors, I think everybody is aware of what those are, what it means. It's basically allowing the primary color of your application be managed by the color that your operating system defines. I'm gonna share my entire screen. I think I need to share my entire screen. Can I share a portion? Yeah, I can share a portion of the screen. Yeah, okay, I think this is it. Okay, if I go, can you still see this? Sweet. All right. So this is currently only enabled on desktop, but of course it's something that it will need to happen on mobile, both iOS and Android. I'm not quite familiar if iOS has an accent color variation, especially with the latest version. You can customize the colors of your app icons, make them transparent or monochrome and things like that. That's something that it's supported inside the applications. Todd, do you know this?
Yeah,
Mm.
they're called themes in iOS and Mac. It's like a global accent color. That's what you mean,
Mm.
I'm assuming. Or you could do
Yeah,
multicolored.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I implemented first this in desktop is going to be available in 150. If you go inside the settings, appearance, that the follow operating system, accent color, I introduce just like six predefined accent colors. The are not the accent colors that are currently in bold. Those are the accent colors that are in bold are for designers to experiment while building something. This is an array of choice, random things. If you have other colors to suggest, we can put them there. But of course, if we change something, it changes like the primary thing, the interaction buttons, the primary buttons, the rollover effect and selection and things like that. Um, the question is, and of course, like following the operating system, if I open my wonderful Windows yuck customization thing. I have accent colors here. If I change this, it follows along. Accent colors always come with the accent color background and foreground. So the background color and the text color. And that's what this is. Like the white is determined by the foreground color that comes from the operating system. For those predefined colors, I put, based on our design system, the AAA accessibility for the color contrast. There's still a chance that some users might select something egregious, like a light yellow and then turns with yellow and dark. Yes, it's accessible, but it like looks absolutely awful. But this is a user choice. We don't have a lot of control on this, especially if they choose a completely custom color. If they have a color picker and they choose something like very plain or very flat, like gray on top of a gray background, there's not much that we can do about this. The problem that we have here, I mean, in desktop, we have multiple problems that I think we have. I'm not sure if we have the same problem in mobile, but we might, is that in some occasions, in some sections, we use the primary color as text color. So, for example, for import, we have these type of things. Like these element uses the primary color. These are hard coded, so they don't follow the proper colors. Sometimes we use a primary color for links. Sometimes we use the default URL colors, but that it's decided by Toolkit, by Firefox. So sometimes it's this like weird, strange bluish purple, and then in dark mode turns like another weird thing. So there are a lot of things that we need to define: how to handle link colors, primary colors, not primary colors, and these sort of things. But there's also another thing to consider, which is this hard rule of accent colors that we need to put in our design system. It's only for clients, it's not for web, because web pages shouldn't follow accent colors, of course. So in web pages, we have the flexibility to use our own accent colors or primary colors for text and links and other things. But yeah, I'm currently working on doing a follow-up patch to convert all the colors, the hard-coded colors that we use, especially we use it also in Account Hub. We use these like hard-coded blues, and there's a question there: should these follow the primary colors? Shouldn't these follow the primary color? If, for example, we are on Ubuntu and the primary color is orange, and then we use our primary button, which is blue, it just looks absolutely awful. What is the limit there? What are the rules? We should codify it, codify a lot of this. I don't know how that will happen. It's probably going to be a try and an error type of things. But yeah, it's a work in progress.
I have thoughts.
Yeah, go for it. Share them.
Accent colors should be accents. Anything that's text and like really important for the UI, especially in terms of readability, or an icon that's like functional icon, those should stick to our designated text icon colors so we know that they're always accessible and readable.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reaching that conclusion. I think like we cannot use accent colors for text at all. Never. Not even for
Never.
titles. Otherwise, yeah,
Yeah.
we create inconsistency. And for links, we need to make a choice. Links usually are colored.
They should use the text color, the designated text color. There's too much risk there with it not being readable. The
Yeah.
only places like where, like say I'll use a button, which is always the worst example, but something that has a surface area with text on it, where we can run a check in the background to ensure that that text is legible, that would be a safe place. Like I know we have that with create a new message. You can use an accent color there. And as long as, it's designating to a white or black to make it readable, then we're good. But yeah, accents should be accents in there. Like just gives that little bit of personalization without impeding functionality.
Yeah, the Account Hub doesn't follow any of those rules. So this is another update that I'm gonna experiment in converting all the Account Hub into thing. There's another interesting aspect of the Account Hub that we have this hard-coded blue tinted background. If we make like the bottom orange and whatever, yeah, all black like this, blue might look out of place, but it's for another day.
That's
Yeah.
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 I think
Yeah, go for it.
I think selections are also a really interesting case. For example, if you go to calendar, which I know we want to change calendar, but we use the accent color. Sorry for leaking your calendar. We should.
It's public, so do you like my calendar? It's a very easy life.
It's nice. If you look in the mini month, so the little calendar on the left, it's full with the accent color and the accent color mixed with other colors. So
look at that.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah,
and that's because we use the accent color as the selection color, right? And we've kind of always done that. I think that's also what the platform does if we didn't do anything. So
yeah,
I think there's also an interesting problem there because often selections will have richer content than just text, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the main places that accent colors or that there's an overlap is that you need something to provide emphasis to functional elements, right? And if your accent color is what you're assuming is your color for emphasis, then you're going to keep running into that problem.
Yeah,
So
and we have these
we can find-
situations here also, like, when you receive a new message, we use our hard-coded primary color to highlight this. Like, should this be the accent color? Does this look weird? Because if we have orange as our primary color because it comes from the operating system, in this case Ubuntu, and then like this looks completely out of place, right?
Maybe not to that person that loves orange.
No. I mean, these hard-coded
Oh,
blue
no,
looks
yeah. No,
completely
I
out of
mean,
place.
yeah.
Yeah.
No. The blue does
Yeah.
not look out of place to me. It's more the accent color that's distinguishing. But you know what? The more important part is that it's functional. It's very readable. There's no issue
Mhm.
there. Yeah. The blue, yeah, I don't know. It's a soft decision.
Mm. Yeah, introducing accent colors and truly respecting accent colors then makes us question all the decisions that were done design-wise in this application for the past 20 years. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be
it's
fun. Yeah.
it's easy. Yeah, I mean, you really just want to lean back on your
Yeah.
accessibility rules there. If it impacts anything functional, then we have an issue.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah, I'm continuing this work, but yeah, for mobile, um, I don't think we're gonna have a problem in iOS. Correct me if I'm wrong, Todd. Like we follow the human interface guideline of Apple, and we're being very methodical about that. I don't think in Android, I don't remember seeing any hard-coded accent colors for text. So only like accent colors for selections or primary buttons, primary interaction things will follow that. Wolf?
Yeah, we might have some based on the Material 3 mapping, where in Material 3, the primary color is closest to an accident color. And so it will use that color to do some highlights, so headlines and some certain font or textiles or buttons are colored in the primary color that is most closely to an accent color. In theory, we could support different accent colors. This would be something like like another K9 theme in the app. So just not having K9 and Thunderbird, but having different seed colors for the Material 3 color palette. And this then opens also the option to use Material U. So derive the whole theming from base accent color. The only downside is it is pretty invasive in some areas, so surface colors will suffer.
Yeah.
So we might be able, but we might need some neutral colors that are unchangeable by the dynamic system.
That's a larger conversation, I think, where
Yeah,
we
it's super
on
large.
consistency across our ecosystem too. Like it's the way that the colors get injected in M3 is a little bit problematic for consistency.
Yeah, I think the
But
default approach and the first and only thing that we want to do right now for mobile is to follow the accent color that comes from the operating system, not implement any customizable accent colors within the application itself. Just to keep it simple. Desktop is a difficult beast because we support 3 different operating systems. Linux introduces so many variations, and sometimes being able to change the accent color to something that the user wants specifically that is not following the operating system accent color is a matter of accessibility and readability, but it's a desktop unique issue, I would say. Fun stuff, yes. Inconsistently consistent. All right. Any other questions on this or? Sweet. I will greatly appreciate Richard's support on this because he knows a lot more about all the variables and the selected primary colors, all the stuff, especially because we still support the sidebar highlight color, like the lightweight theme that overrides the selected primary color. That's an extra layer of complexity in desktop that it's going to be beautiful. So a lot of CSS changes incoming. All right. Moving on. We got JSON export. Laurel.
No updates. We've had a bunch of shifting priorities internally, so I haven't been able to get back to it, but I promise that I will.
Nice. Same thing for Melissa, documentation size
Yeah.
storybook.
Yeah, so I guess since we're the only ones with Storybook, that is easily, pluggable into something else. We're going to pop it up onto the Zero Height design documentation. And I moved it to next week instead of later this week, just so I could play around with it a little more. Because it's easy for me to just write up a draft of a thing. But I do like playing around and fiddling with the presentation. So hopefully next week. And if not, then I'll raise it in the chat. So yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much. Moving on, we got Jesse.
Yes. I don't think I have all that much more progress than most people here, but I at least started poking around and looking at some standards and existing models and trying to outline the questions that need to be answered in terms of policies and stuff. The document is actually in the Bolt design system part of the docs folder, but I wouldn't recommend diving too deep in there because you'll mostly just see an outline of question marks. But I was thinking about possible next steps as well to make sure I get the policies right or we get the policies right and who can be interviewed or spoken to internally, and how to draft a few high-level proposals for things like release schedules and how versioning should work, and what tools specifically we put public-facing code and public-facing design assets and resources on, and how those would get versioned and cycled through. So those are all a lot of open questions. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the parameters of this topic.
Nice. Sounds good. Anyone has anything else to add? Cool. All right. Switching to community QA. Which interesting comment we got in the previous YouTube video?
We got a comment, so it's great. Very interesting. That was the comment.
Oh, that was the comment. I thought the comment was very interesting. No, it was
Yeah.
actually exactly
That is,
brilliant.
yeah, we had someone who watched it and said very interesting, so they're engaged. I
See.
did ask, I always ask before our meetings in the Bolts Matrix channel. Didn't see anything in there this week, but I'll always keep asking in there. And then this meeting will be our third video that we'll post to YouTube and to the other video channel that we do. So if anyone has questions and you're watching this, post them in the comments and we'll go pick them up and we'll answer those in our next meeting in April.
Yeah, maybe before you publish it, can you edit it and remove the part where I show my calendar so it's not on YouTube? I mean, it's just for this week, so it's not
I'll
that
ask.
bad, but...
Yeah, I will ask.
Cool. There's a community related, like not community, like design system community related, but a community related contribution in desktop that it's happening to add custom event colors to calendar events. Google, if you use Google Calendar, you're allowed to do that. Like the event by default is colored by the color of the calendar that it comes from is attached to, but you can add a custom color to the event itself. This is a desktop only struggle that we need to support. We need to allow users to customize things, especially if the specification and the standards of CalDAV or any other protocol support these kind of things. We need to allow to support it. We need to make a very opinionated decisions on, yes, customizing colors, but in what way? How do we limit that to not make it look like a rainbow of madness and it's impossible to read? But nonetheless, we still always have to support these type of things. My follow-up on this is we should probably never do anything like this on mobile. As a general thing, I think a lot of our audience that is from desktop is going to move to our mobile clients. They are expecting that we have the same functionalities of desktop and the same capabilities and the same flexibility. I think it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think we need to be very strict on mobile is mobile. You're not supposed to tweak 25,000 settings and have all the options that you have on desktop. If you want a desktop experience, you should use a desktop. Yeah, just general follow-up. Any questions, doubts, concerns, disagreements on this? Cool. Keep mobile simple. Nice. All right. And then the most dreaded question of it all. Who wants to facilitate the next meeting or next month? I'm going to pick someone if no one volunteers. So-
Oh, maybe it's time to bring in the wheel, a spinning wheel, and whoever it lands on, that's who runs the next meeting. I
No,
mean,
I think
that
like
can happen. That can
yeah,
happen.
we can do that. Yeah.
But don't jump off your
Uh,
mics all at once, everyone.
Jesse, would you feel comfortable hosting the next one next month?
Sure.
Nice. It's easy. It's fun. Yeah. Cool. All right. Any other questions, doubts, anything else to discuss? All right.
Thank you for facilitating.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Great work. Have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thanks, y'all.